Thursday, April 10th, 2025 council meeting to order. Please rise and recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Sorry about that.
You're fine. You're just fine. Yes, I am here.
Not here. Hopefully he'll show up. Mr. Marvel.
Here.
Mr. Maxim.
Here.
Mrs. Rice.
Here.
Mrs. Rudy. Here. Ms. Atchison is present. In order to come to the public comment portion of our agenda, the council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment and public hearing portions of the agenda. However, council policy is to hear the public comment, not to act on the public comment at this time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment portion of the agenda will be referred to the city manager for action. If after communicating with the city manager, no resolution is reached, the concern will be elevated to the mayor and then eventually to the council for actions. Those citizens wishing to speak on agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record if you would like. Any public comments?
Craig Hopkins, 90 North Main Street. Just want to kind of touch base on a few community things coming up. Next week, we have the annual community night at the high school. Hopefully everybody shows up. I'm presuming some of you've got tables. Is the city there this year?
Yes.
Yep, I know Rotary is. And in May, the CBDT is coordinating a spring cleanup around the library and Mrs. Brown's Gardens in that area over there on May 16th and 17th. So I know Darla is aware of it, but I didn't think we'd actually brought it to council before to let you guys know that that's what we're doing. And so we're inviting the community to come out, clean up the area, work with some of the vegetation and the gardening and stuff like that. Last year, me and a couple of my friends kind of took care of Mrs. Brown's Gardens throughout the summer after we opened that all back up, and we'd like to do that again this year. Then June 21st is the Cedar Springs Renaissance Forge Fantasy Fair. We had a really good turnout last year, and we're expecting it again this year.
Else? Anybody online? Raise your hand or unmute yourself. No. Can somebody make a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
I will make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, assuming there are no.
Thank you. All those in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second that motion.
I'm going to do roll call because that involves money. Mrs. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Gross? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let the record show that Mr. Gross showed up.
Way too many meetings.
He's taking a deep breath and relaxing into his chair. All right, Mr. Marvel,
Yes.
Mr. Maxim,
Yes.
Mrs. Race.
Yes.
Mrs. Rudy.
Yeah.
Ms. Atchison votes yes. Items. Motion to approve resolution 2025-05A, resolution to update the city record retention policy. Mrs. Falcon.
Yeah, so when we were upstairs last month going through our records, we quickly discovered that what we were going by the 2005 schedule that the city had approved. There is a much more recent state of Michigan retention schedule that we could be following if the council adopts it. That would change how we're going through the records upstairs and what we're able to get rid of if these documents met the retention. It would cut down on digitizing records. So we called the state, we called, our attorneys have reviewed the resolution, got the green light from both of them. So we're proposing kind of a two-step approach. First, revoke the 2005 local agency specific retention schedule, adopt the state one by this resolution tonight. And then we need time to go through the other city, documents to create another local agency specific retention schedule to be brought back to you at a later date.
Okay, sorry, I lost my voice. Let's get a motion for this so we can discuss it.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-05, a resolution to update the city record retention policy.
Second?
No discussion?
Does this make it so there's less tonnage of boxes that have to be moved and our ceiling might not cave in before we move out of here? And I mean, just saying, I've seen how many boxes of paper that is. So
Schedule we had last month, I think we were able to get rid of, well over 50 boxes. We filled up both bins that we had. We're ready to fill them up again, but if we can adopt this, then we can go even further. So,
Should I do a roll call for this one? Okay, Ms. Conley?
yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Mr. Marvel?
Yes.
Mr. Maxim?
Yes.
Mrs. Race?
Yes.
Mrs. Rudy?
Yes.
Ms. Atchison? Yes. 7-0. Thank you. Okay, now we're on to discussion items. It looks like draft budget, Mrs. Falcon?
so we, just kind of to update, and then we'll have a public hearing at the May council meeting. Just to summarize all of the funds that we went through, at the March, budget workshop. The only fund that changed is the DDA fund. They were in the middle of some strategic planning, and at last month's meeting, the end of March, they added a couple items still within the budget. Cash reserves, just a couple projects that they wanted to fund this year. Other than that, nothing else has changed in any other fund from the budget workshop. So we're looking at total budget of $9,797,754. And then we just kind of added the CIP plan on the second page. This is kind of something we pay attention to, because if you these projects, large projects, there's engineering. We have to make sure we stay on top of that to get that done in this fiscal year. Or if we have to bid the project out. And CIP projects, so.
Any questions? Comments? All right. Let's move on to the fun stuff. The preliminary city hall rendering and floor plan.
99% confident that this is the final floor plan. I had and it's not, we meet with the construction team and the architects. And this past Wednesday, some of the engineers, mechanical engineer and electrical engineer, joined our conversation. This is what we want it to look like. But if the mechanical engineer comes and says, I have no place to put the furnace or the air conditioning unit, or, you know, to run tubing here is too much or whatever. So that's what we're kind of fine tuning at this point. They should have that wrapped up by the end of the month. We're still on schedule, the projected schedule that Construction Simplified submitted with their RFQ is having this project tentatively done around Christmas time this year. So we're still on that projected plan. But I just wanted to share, you've seen the front at the budget workshop, opening up all those windows that are currently boarded up.
Like bricked up. Weren't they?
Yeah, some of them.
Sure.
All them back up. And then we're gonna have the front off of the Muskegon side street, not the side like you used to go into Rowlands. So 4 feet sticking out into the entrance and then 4 feet on the inside. That's our vestibule there. Once you walk in, to your immediate left will be the utility billing, tax payment counter, transaction counter. And then all along that east wall is the city offices. And through the center there, we've got a nice conference room right off the council room, and a break room, and then a much larger council room on the west side of the building. Public restrooms in the front corner. Towards the back, we did allow DPW to be part of the front half, but there will be a door kind of separating, you know, City Hall and DPW. And then the whole back garage for all of our vehicles and signs and water parts and all that stuff that DPW has. And then some much needed storage behind the council room specifically for the election. And then just general city hall storage and our server, computer, all of our computer stuff in there. The safe room and the interior, that will be 2-hour fire rated. So that I'm not sure if that's cement walls or whatever, but our safe room in the middle there. And then the mechanical room, and then a couple restrooms in the back for staff. So we all really like it. We've all, our Public Works Department went to the building and with paint kind of gave us dimensions of the rooms inside. So we could actually go there and feel the council room and the offices, and made a couple tweaks at that point, but this is what we landed on. So what do you think?
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question? How does the I don't know if storage is the right word, garage part of it work for DPW?
With a few modifications, it will definitely work. The overhead door that's there is not large enough. Our large plow truck with the underbody scraper won't fit, but
Yeah.
make that door, it's in between beams where we have room to make that door bigger. And then we're gonna add a door on the other end so they can drive in, drive through out this end door, and then loop around and come out on Cedar Street. So much better than backing into the garage they're using now and into these little teeny spaces. Yes.
Make sure Bill doesn't gain any weight before he has to plow snow, or we had that with the fire trucks before we only
Yeah.
could respond to drive the trucks out.
Yeah.
Question is there a digital sign that will be out front?
We haven't proposed that. Everything we've talked about is internal, electrical, plumbing, water, sewer, all that stuff. So we can,
That later, especially if we're, I don't know where we're at on bond money, but
yeah, we can definitely make
the-
sure. So,
Well, digital sign, just so that we don't have a little, city
Yeah.
council. Pretty much all city halls have them, so it's
Yeah.
just part of, and as busy as that area is right there, it would
But
be.
we're
whole, a lot of area in front of that building.
Maxed on our bond, aren't we?
That's yet to be determined. We really need to make sure mechanical and electrical work in this location. So we'll know probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
They're pricey, but we could like.
The building's not gonna be done for a while anyways, so.
Right, I'm just saying as a matter of like, we can take that out of different funds. It wouldn't have to come out of a bond.
Yeah, if we know it won't fit budget-wise here, we can look externally at existing general fund dollars or whatever and budget that separately so that they're not finding somebody to build that for us.
No question, says the comm degree person.
Says, do you have the size for the council chamber?
Um,
I have a visual processing disorder, so I'm gonna take it home and have the person who's good at this look at it.
8 equals foot.
one that we did have that had that on there,
It says the floor scale.
Yeah.
He's got the floor scale, he could do the measurement.
right there,
Bottom, but
one.
don't know what this is.
Times 3, divided 3. They give you all
4 feet wide.
20, 22 foot wide, because these are 2-foot panels, 22 by,
Longer that way from the way you have it set up. Yes. Yeah.
Is it to assume that the seating is to fire code?
I mean,
The distance apart, based on the number of chairs in a row, sometimes you have to have a center opening also. And that's what I'm asking, so. I don't remember exactly what the code was anymore, but
yeah, when we set up the room, we will have a center aisle, just because that's what we prefer. That doesn't work in this room, but, they didn't have chairs in there. And we're like, well, I mean, put some furniture in here so we can kind of see the orientation. So,
Is it's been a long time since I've been actually in the building. Is the main, area of the city hall, the brick part, is the interior, is that open to the underside of the roof? Or is there a second floor? It is open?
we can see the beams. So that wasn't one thing I didn't mention, I'm sorry. When you walk in that front vestibule there, you're gonna see almost all of that first beam completely up to the ceiling. Then our offices will all along the east wall. Our office will have ceilings, 12 feet, 10 inches. The council room will be 14 feet because the bottom of the beams will be exposed only in the council room. And then the ceiling tiles will come up to those beams. And then in the center, I think they're a little bit lower because above the ceilings down the center is where the ductwork is going to come. I think they said those are 10 feet. So between 10 feet and 14 feet, that's 4 feet for the electrical ductwork, whatever that needs to run through there.
I guess I had about the same question. That's an awful lot of ceiling area to be heated if it isn't sealed off from the main floor. Is it going to be open above these areas, above your roofs and so forth?
Ceilings, insulated ceilings, and everything except the vestibule.
Okay. Okay.
We wanted to keep that initial walk-in, that character of the building, and just have that first beam exposed.
Yes.
Everything beyond will have insulated ceilings.
Natural light of the row of windows above that will kind of blast into the lobby there.
And I mean, no point in having that building if you're not gonna, I mean, see what it looks like when you walk into it.
Any other questions or?
I'm
Alex?
glad we hired Construction Simplified for this. This is a complex project, especially in an old building like that, so. That sounds like they're.
Fabulous. They know answers. If they don't know the answer, we know it by the next week. They've researched it and bring it back to us.
Buddy together too, which is really important, so.
Every Wednesday, there's myself and Rebecca and Tanya, sometimes Bill when he's available. So there's a representative from, many in the city and their team.
Working with just one project manager, or are there multiple?
Right now, it's mainly Jeff.
Okay.
So Tim also works with Jeff. He's at every meeting. And then there's a lot on spring break this week, but a mechanical and electrical engineer joined us this past Wednesday. So, yes, yep.
Okay. Let's move on to discussion item C, plans for 66 South Main Street, the current city hall.
So I've had several phone calls. I've given tours of the existing facility and everybody's like, after done the tour, okay, what's the price tag? No. I said, let me have a discussion with council. I mean, are you all comfortable with us selling this property? There's no need for us to keep this. Okay. To our attorney, the first step is title work. As long as we've owned this building, I don't know if there's what the title work looks like. So we'll order title work. Hopefully that's clean. I don't know why it wouldn't be. And then hiring an appraiser, but getting a price for one buyer to buy the whole thing. And then a price just for this building and a price just for the building next door. We can split the two buildings into two parcels. Couple options there. We can split it right down the middle and give this building a row of parking and the building next to us a row of parking. We could sell just the buildings and have the space right behind the buildings, parking for these buildings, and keep the main parking area public parking. So I need prices, and then do you foresee like for sale sign and say, this building is this amount, this building is this amount, or here's our minimum bid and we accept bids?
Do we need to look at the zoning on it? Because this originally was an auto body place, like this, should it just be commercial? Because like the reason that this is where it is because there's a giant concrete thing underneath of us, which was the bay for putting cars on.
Thing is for sale, I can say it's currently zoned B2 commercial, and here's the permitted uses.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody other than these permitted uses.
Because when I was looking at it initially, I wasn't sure that auto repair was something that was allowed. And like, if it isn't, it should be because the infrastructure.
Okay, there's one of about 4 of them that were in town, but gradually just disappeared. So it was a dealership, so it was sales and repair. That's why it was set up for the garage repairs in the back, so.
Next to us was a muffler shop?
The gas station and then a muffler shop,
And a radiator shop. Yeah.
a radiator shop, right? So.
Does that sound like a plan?
Got history in town again. Could be a little longer, but.
We can sell this building, kind of like we did the Rowland building. We bought it, let them continue in it to close up. If we can sell this, knowing we're not moving out until that building's done, we can work on that.
Everything together first anyways, but I'm glad that you're thinking ahead because we don't want to wait until we're in there to do it because that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, okay, so I would need a motion to, because title work is gonna, something I don't,
Madam Mayor, I would make a motion to authorize the manager and the city staff to look into, that's not the word you want, to in title work, explore title work. What is the appropriate verb? Secure work for the current city hall to prepare to sell it. Does that work, Madam Clerk? For a motion? Super awkward motion.
Super awkward motion.
All right. Mr. Marvel,
Yes.
Mr. Gross,
Yes.
Mrs. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. Maxim,
Yes.
Mrs. Race,
Yes.
Mrs. Rudy,
Yes.
Miss Atchison votes yes. All right, I'm excited. Let's move to, do we have any communications?
if I could just point out 9C in your packet, DNR letter of support. It's not Friends of the White Pine Trail, but it's a group that is working on the White Pine Trail. I went to a meeting south of town here a year or so ago, and they are applying for a $300,000 DNR trust fund grant, just like we got for the Heart of Cedar Springs, to install these signs, two-sided, heritage interpretation on one side and wayfinding on the other side, to be placed all along the 92-mile extension. So within our city limits, it'll have city information on the sign. So letter of support, absolutely.
Do you want to vote?
No.
Okay.
Department reports, Mrs. Falcons.
I was just gonna remind everybody again, I did secure a table for community night, April 17th from 6 to 8. I will also be there with the city planner, Andy Moore, for the master plan. He's gonna have a future land use map and maybe a little questionnaire, just to get some feedback on the master plan. Yep, and then I already mentioned Construction Simplified. We had a really good meeting this week. And we're gonna continue to meet pretty much every Wednesday until it's time to start securing subcontractors and work on the building, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. Department of Public Works.
Good evening. So we went downtown and fixed the red string lights on the poles. We had a bunch of them that weren't working. Put up new hanging basket hangers downtown. So we have a lot more of those. So we'll be able to put up more baskets. Fix the leaking seals on our mowers. So hopefully we're all good to go when we start mowing. Took down the dead tree at the Heart of Cedar that was over by the bridge. It was an old dead pine tree. We got that down. We have the stump we have to get out of there yet. So that'll look better. And then other than that, we've just been cleaning up the cemetery and dog park.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Yep.
Law enforcement, Ms. Sergeant Paulson.
Today was the last day. Detective Porter, the detective for Cedar Springs, got promoted, so he starts his new role next week as a sergeant. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations. Where will he be?
Gonna start out training at our headquarters on night shift patrol. And then eventually, hopefully, it's not official yet, but he might end up back at the North Substation as a night shift sergeant, so.
Oh,
Very excited.
We'd be happy for that.
Yeah. Former detective partner when I was in the detective bureau, so he's a really good friend of mine.
Congratulations to him.
Have our quarterly block training, and this is the fun one. We do rifle quals, drills, control tactics, multi-assault, counterterrorism, action tactics. That's a lot of stuff we do in one day. It's a lot of fun, hands-on, so we're looking forward to that.
Madam Mayor, may I make a comment?
Yes.
I just want to say that I was on the council before the Kent County Sheriffs were our police. And you all are just wonderful. And it has been a really worthwhile shift. And I so appreciate what you talking about the training you're going to do, just the level of training that we never could as an independent private city, not private, but small city provide, that you all provide. The services are just wonderful. The training you have is excellent. And I'm just want you to know that I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
Shetla.
It's been a busy March. Kind of going through, noticing a few trends that we're not happy with, but we'll try to get with the community, try to go through there. House fires are up considerably. We've already had 3 house fires this month in March. It's already 9 for the year, which is a pretty rough trend. Last year was probably our biggest for a while with, I think, 23 building fires. And we're unfortunately on path to go beyond that pretty quick. So just make sure you change your smoke detectors, pay attention for smells, hot spots, anything in your house, go through, try to call immediately because you don't want to deal with house fire. So on that note, we have some good news. The Model A is now officially back. We are planning on having it out on the 17th for the community night, weather permitting. Unfortunately, it does look like it could rain, which it tends to do every community night. So that is our goal, to have it out for everybody to peruse, take a look at and go through. It does look very nice. So happy to have it done and happy back. So any questions?
Out of curiosity, how many of those fires were assist on our part to,
Actually, tell you that.
your report told me, I just didn't have time to review it tonight, so.
Actually, all 3 of the ones this month were Solon assists.
Well, it says, okay, so.
They by far don't have the.
Curiosity, because it was, you know, it's not necessarily something that you're gonna be running right to in town. All part of the program that we're part of, as far as the, mutual aid program that was set up, so. Okay, thank you.
Mayor, can I? So I remember when like, I think it was probably the second to the last year that Marty was the fire chief, when he came and talked to us, when there were 2 structure fires in town at the same time. It was where the post, the old Cedar Springs post, and then up on the corner by me. And he said, I remember Marty said something that stuck in my head, that our buildings are quite old. And it's that they have a lot of old wood, they have a lot of old wiring. And I don't know if there's anything people can do to protect from. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Thing you can really do is just be aware of everything that goes on in your house, going through. Pay attention to the smells. You know your house. I mean, fire does have a distinct smell. You can smell the heat. You go through. You just get to that point and say, this is just not right. And at that point, investigate. I mean, it's important. So the faster we get to it, the faster we can stop it in its tracks. Because if it gets into an attic, or God forbid, a lot of our older houses are all balloon construction, they get in a wall, they go right straight to the attic. And it's extremely difficult to stop that. So unfortunately, with a lot of the older houses, they go to a defensive fire way faster than we would normally in some cases, because it just spreads so fast. So but engineered lumber is not that much better either. So you get any heat on that, it just tends to collapse. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Sticking in my head from Marty talking about it. And I have one of those really old houses that's balloon construction, and
Growth wood tends to hold up to heat a lot better than new pine.
okay, really interesting.
It takes a lot longer.
It is harder to get a nail into it. Like you got to use drill bits and yeah, it's crazy. Okay, that's helpful to know.
And I'm sure it's just because he didn't think of them. If you have a home, lights flickering, breakers are tripping, fuses is blowing, better get an electrician in there somewhere because you have a problem. And a lot of them are caused by electrical. And that's like he's saying, it's electrical in nature. So you need somebody to come in and do some testing on your winders.
If you have any doubt, call the licensed electrician.
Thank you for that. Just as a, like, lots of people have older houses. So if you're hearing this, like, tune in because fires suck. Thank you.
City Clerk, Mrs. Johnson.
Couple updates for you guys tonight. So over the last month, we did spec out and bid out the archive project. So that would be digitizing upstairs and the digital management content as well with that. We received several bids. We are currently evaluating them, and we're also demoing the product that they are offering for the digital's content management service as well. So that way we can ensure that it will meet our needs now and into the future. So we'll have an update for you at the next meeting. Additionally, we will be closed to the public on April 15th. That is next week to continue that effort upstairs. So just as a reminder. And I did want to remind everybody that there are several board vacancies currently. One member of the Planning Commission, 2 members of the Construction Board of Appeals, and 1 member for the Election Commission. So if you know individuals in the community that would like to serve on that board, they just need to submit the application for boards and commissions that's available on our website and return that back to Darla. And lastly, we do have an upcoming deadline for nominating petitions and affidavits of identity for those individuals who are looking to run for city council. There will be 2 seats that will be up for election, and the nomination petitions and the affidavits of identity need to be pulled out from the city clerk's office and returned no later than April 22nd, and they need to be returned by that date, April 22nd at 4 p.m. Currently, there are 5 people who have pulled petitions for those 2 seats. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. And that's very, very fulfilling to hear that the community is out there wanting to become a part of something. Finance Director. Emily.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because I didn't know if I was on mute still or not. So, so now that most of the budget work is completed for the next fiscal year and I'm in between tax years, I have some time to catch up and do some things that have fallen to the bottom of my to-do list and also some time to clean up files in my office. At the end of this month, I'll be attending my 2nd year of Basic Institute. So I am looking forward to that. That's all I have.
Thank you. We don't have anything from code enforcement that we need to discuss. Okay. We're going to go into council comments. I'm going to start with Mr. Marvel because then you can do he's going to give us our first report as our planning consultant on the, yeah, for the council.
Yeah, we met with Solon at the sheriff's department there a couple weeks ago, and then we met last week, I think. Most of last week's discussion had a lot to do with short-term rentals and just looking at different tweaks and things that we can do to the ordinance. Is it coming back for a second? Is that okay?
Commission next month.
So there's a couple suggestions, a couple ideas that we threw around, and it's basically the same thing we talked about a while ago, that it's just going to be a big trial. We'll see where it goes after a year. So, and then we talked a little bit about the 425 agreement, the future of that, and what that looks like with our meeting. And other than that, there's not much that we talked about the city hall a little bit. So, yeah. I loved it. It was great. I think I'll fit in with the group there and bounce off good ideas, and hopefully can be a good dialogue between city council and planning commission too. So yeah, thanks for letting me do it. So
You have any comments for the on the council?
oh yeah, sure. Always got a comment, right? Yeah, I think it was a good meeting and looking forward to the future too. And yeah, I just love the direction of this town. So it was a good meeting. So
Thank you. Mr. Gross.
First, I'll apologize for being late. Sometimes work gets in the way of other work. And, I just couldn't get away from some people quick enough. In more ways than one. Hopefully they're not watching. I feel everything's going very well here. As far as the board, the progress we're making with the new city hall. Things of that nature, the fact that there's some interest already in the possibility of this building, assuming the price is right for whomever it is, and they don't try to take us for too much, but things are going very, very well. I did have the opportunity to see the old truck. Love to have an old truck parked in my garage. You're gonna be impressed. I'm glad to hear that the fire department is planning on protecting it as much as what I feel it should be and what I felt it should have been in the past. But, if you haven't seen it, you will definitely appreciate it. So that's it.
Mrs. Rudy.
I'm excited to see Braden expand into the city. I mean, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I'm excited about this new building. I can't wait to get in there. The city's just stepping forward into the future. That's exciting.
Mr. Maxim.
I'd like to I'd thank Mr. Marvel for participating in the planning commission. I think it's excellent to have a representative that's involved with both. And I appreciate the fact that he was willing to become more involved. I'm also encouraged to hear that there are more people that are interested in the open seats on the council. That's very encouraging. The more people that participate, obviously, the better. And I think things are looking good for Cedar.
Mrs. Conley.
I am also glad that Mr. Marble is taking that seat on the planning commission. I think it's very important to have a person from the council on the planning commission, because otherwise, to try to get the information back here, unless we attend or watch the meetings or have someone come report to us, it's difficult. And so I really appreciate, and Madam Mayor, I appreciate that you made that happen also in making that appointment. So thank you to that. And in general, this is just fabulous. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that we are recovering a historic building. I am excited that we're going to have a real room where people can fit, not out in the hallway. Just in general, it's just really fabulous. And you all, Darla, but all of the staff who've made sure that the engineering folks could make this vision come to life have really outdone yourselves. So thank you for that.
Mrs. Race.
It's another good meeting, lot accomplished in a nice short period of time tonight. The plan looks great for the city hall. I had no doubts about that at all. I know that you guys work very hard every day. And I just appreciate the love that you show for the city, because it truly does matter, and people do make those comments. So thank you for being for that.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said, and one of the reasons why I asked how big the council room was gonna be, or because we need more room for voters too. A little more room, and then, so they usually use that area for that, and so there'll be more room for that. Plus, we haven't even talked about it, but there's a lot of parking over there. So for voting, for anything that goes on at City Hall, it's gonna be so much easier.
Off-road parking.
Yeah, all off-road. You won't have to be on the road. It's gonna be great. And, I'm glad that we've had the vision that, and we needed to, this space, we've grown out of it. It's not just because we wanted something new and newer and shinier or whatever. It was a need, and that's what we're trying to, get for our people in the city, is things that we need and things that we want to have some fun, right? And we've got those nice new parks and things happening too. So I think everything's great. And with that, we are adjourned at 7:46.